My name is Adilah Monyake. I'm a DJ. I go by Adilah with an X. Guys, it's not Adilah, but it has the X. And I'm a young professional, also just like trying to push passion on the side. So I've been in the DJ space, the entertainment industry for about 5 years now. And that was just being talent. I started working behind the scenes. It's been a year now since I was working behind, setting up productions, events, all of the nice stuff. But I think I've been in the entertainment industry for around 6 years.
My name is Kenzhero, DJ, creative entrepreneur. In the space of music, spaces, restaurants, festivals, everything music related and art. That's kind of what I'm involved in.
I think the first one is getting your name out there, because it's one thing to have, people talk about you or whatever, but how do you dominate a nation? How do you elevate yourself to that stage?
You always have to look, sound, be different from the next person, even though you're in the same world. Like in a pot of beans, brown beans, be a black bean, you know what I mean? But you're still part of the bean family. That way you get noticed. If you came and did the same thing, let's say as a DJ specifically, and played the same set that the last guy played, or a set that they've heard from somewhere, you're not differentiating yourself. So it's important to stand out, and be like, what was that? If people didn't say to me, what was that after I said, then I haven't done my job, because that means the set wasn't memorable. So you always have to look for things that are memorable. So imagine if a DJ was playing and you come after them and you play the same set, and if I was part of the audience, I didn't even notice there was a change. So there must always be a cutoff, a change. But if we're not talking music, it's how you present yourself, how you look, your confidence, being around people, respect the people that are before you.
How do you create longevity? How do you last? How do you last in the game? Because no one wants to be hot now and then cold tomorrow. Everyone wants to build a career for themselves that's going to hopefully grow and span over a couple of decades,
You don't create longevity. You almost have to take it as if that's the only thing you do. Some of these things can be a calling for some people, because you don't decide what you're going to do forever. Your feelings, your passion decide, so you don't plan to have longevity. You just gotta be in it. I don't know any other thing, so this is what I do. There's no longevity plan. It's just I'm staying here forever. That's the attitude. So you just stay in what you say you want to do. If you were meant to be a musician, if you're meant to be a DJ, if you're meant to be a doctor, you'll remain that. So there's no thinking around it. You're gonna have to be around the scene enough for people to even notice and be like, yo, this girl is always around here. Yo, this guy is always doing this. You just gotta be in it. There's no other way. There's no smart way for longevity. Again, basic behavior, respect yourself, present yourself properly to people, be of professional, standards all the time. It sounds like it has nothing to do with the turntables or the CDJs, but it's one of the basic principles of life. But if you take it into a profession, it's also going to help.
The business of the industry, how do you make the right deals? How do you, cut the right checks? I think that's a very important thing in terms of entertainment. No one knows how to value yourself or your work, rather. And I think everyone needs to understand that, how do you set your set rates? When you're working with brands, do you know how long the deal is supposed to be? I think your business of music I should have actually put that first.
So I had an idea about how one can create a rate card. In a perfect world, if you've been DJing for 20 years, you should be charging at least minimum 20K, because that's every year you're just incrementing your fee. In your 6th year, charge 6K, because you're not established unless you take off, you know what I mean? You have to have been consistent enough to charge that much. So every year, just increase it by 500 or $1,000, but stay on $1,000. That depends on how your trajectory work as far as being consistent, doing, big events, small events here and there. So there is no template, and a lot of people never share what they charge. So it's important you always know around what the promoter is trying to pay you what you're worth. They're the ones who start giving you a gauge to say, yeah, but you're you need to be noticed. Maybe you're still at $1,000. Then you come around your luck when someone says, I don't know what you charge. If you've been given a benchmark of $1,000, try your luck at 2,000, and if they agree, then keep it at that. The thermometer, where it ends, that's where you start charging, But yeah, there is no standard way of charging. Also because the DJing space has been so democratized. So many people are DJs, so many people are doing it for passion, and they're willing to bypass booking fees. So the best thing to do, again, is to do your own events, because you have a lot of control there. Yeah, you don't just cut the check. You make the check. You must make the check.
So my brother is my manager. It's the best of both worlds. It's good and bad, because at the end of the day, we're a family, and sometimes I feel like he struggles to separate the sibling relationship from the personal, the business relationship. But the positive is you always have someone on your team who understands you, who definitely knows what you're about, and someone who values you, because at the same time, that person is your sibling, that's your blood. So that person doesn't take anything less than what you deserve, or rather what they feel you deserve. It's good, and I mean, he is a businessman in his own right, so I've been very blessed to be able to tap into his network.
So that's always the biggest mistake and a blessing at the same time, to have a family member as your manager. First of all, what are they managing yet? Because you're not a brand, if anything, It's never a good idea to have a friend or sibling. Some siblings make it work. Some siblings are built that way. And I don't want to deny her brother the opportunity, especially since she mentioned that he's also a business person, and that perhaps is a good thing. But it blocks how you communicate and negotiate with your manager, because he might be older, is your brother, and he thinks he knows what you need to be doing, and you might have a different idea. External people are always easy to persuade and to be told, to be given instructions for the most part, for you to be able to maintain your North Star. I'll tell you an open secret. I've really never had a manager for 20 years. I've really managed my staff. And I'm lucky because I'm able to kind of play both. What I do always have is administrators, someone who can administrate your business. Because also manager is such a broad term. There's so many sections in management, in that if they were not agreed on earlier on, there's going to be miscommunication. So the artist needs to at least do 6-7 categories that you say, I can do these 3, you can do this 5. And don't cross the line. So she must decide what is her brother strong at, what she could be strong at, and then she must share the work. If you give someone your life to manage, eventually it's not going to work.
What I'd really like to ask DJ Kenzhero is how he made the leap from his grassroots to being, the household brand that he is, because I genuinely believe that he's a household brand. And I want to know, what's the secret? How do you get there? How do you propel yourself to that level? Is it like a work thing, or is it a streets thing? How, I think, is the first question.
You must be in charge and in control of your destiny. Rule number 1, do not ever let your career depend on others calling you, determining where you should be. How did I get there? I did my own events. I control the narrative. It's not the streets. You say to the streets, I'm doing this party, this is the theme. It's important to tell your story when you are in control. Now, when someone sees that's the person you are, when they book you, they're like, I want that. Now you can because you worked hard for that thing. You've got online reach outs to people. I know people will never respond sometimes. Just reach out to everyone. Out of 10, one person will respond. So, it's one other way to create your brand. I think also deal with yourself morally. If you're a person of morals, if you're a person of good quality, behavior, always maintain the basic human things to do that are right. People feel you when you mean well. Radio was a very interesting opportunity for me to even go deeper because people are sitting down listening. They're not like in an instantaneous space where you got to play only hits to keep them entertained. So it made me express another side of me because people are at leisure listening to you at that point. So, and by the way, as a DJ, you need radio because the presence of weekly helps you a lot. It helps you a lot. So she must endeavor to become a mixed DJ at one of the shows, whether it's YFM, weekly, That way also sharpens your sets because you can't play the same set on radio all the time. So ask for slots, do guest slots that are mixing slots on radio. That way you grow your brand. You have to commit in a lot of things that your passion is asking you to do, enough for you to one day jump out. So, for example, don't wait for the passion or the industry you're going to be in to call you. You have to go to it.